But we begin tonight with the case of little Lisa Irwin, the baby who disappeared from her parents' home nearly 2 weeks ago. Her parents have insisted somebody snatched her from her crib. But Lisa's parents are now changing their story about what happened on the night they saw her last. For starters, the mom now admits she last saw her daughter hours earlier than we initially heard. And the mom also says that she was drunk that night on what she admits was probably more than 5 glasses of wine.
How drunk were you?
Just drunk.
I mean, were you slurring your words? Were you stumbling?
I don't think so, no.
Do you remember the period well?
No.
Is it possible you had a blackout?
It's a possibility. I mean, just like anybody else, when you drink, you don't remember the things that happened and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a possibility, but it once again has nothing to do with my daughter.
Is it possible you blacked out and something happened to Lisa during that time?
No.
The investigation is going to lead.
Megyn Kelly interviewed Lisa's parents for 2 hours this weekend at their home in Kansas City, and she also checked out the scene of the crime. Watch.
This right here is the window into the computer room that the family believes the intruder came in through. They believe he pushed through this screen and went through the window. You can see down below that there's a little wood step, so if you wanted to get in, you could step up on it, and you would be tall enough potentially to push through this window and enter the house. They say the baby's room is through this computer room on the other side of the house. That's how they believe it happened. Although the screen has been put back in place now, they say on the day in question or the night in question, it was pushed in slightly. They believe that the perpetrator then lifted it up and slid through for entry.
In fact, last week, police tried to recreate that version of events. But during the pretend break-in, a cop needed to boost himself just to reach the window. However, today, some signs of possible progress in the case. The FBI and local police searched the home where the parents are now staying, and a police dog checked out the parents' car. Investigators were also seen pulling some items from the home of a neighbor who was apparently drinking with the mother on the day that Lisa Irwin disappeared. The Fox Report's chief correspondent, Jonathan Hunt, live in New York. And Jonathan, back to that extraordinary interview. What else did the mom admit?
Well, the key issue here, Trace, aside from the drinking, of course, is the timing on when Deborah Bradley last saw little Lisa. Remember, she first told cops she checked on her at 10:30 p.m. Now she says that she did check on her 2 older boys that night because they were still awake. But because of the drinking, she can't actually remember whether she went in to check on little Lisa. Listen.
I'm assuming that I went and checked on her too, but I don't know.
You don't remember?
No.
So it's possible you did not check on her before you went to bed at 10:30?
Yeah, but there's no way that anybody could have got in.
So the last time you saw your daughter alive in your home was when you put her down at 6:40?
When I put her down.
It's worth remembering as cops continue their search today that the father of the baby, Jeremy Irwin, said very little once again during this interview except to reiterate that he believes Deborah Bradley had nothing to do with little Lisa's disappearance. Trace.
And Jonathan, we learned the parents now have a high-profile New York defense lawyer working for them?
Yeah, his name is Tacopina, and if that sounds familiar to you, that might be because he is the man who represented that young Dutchman, Joran van der Sloot, suspected in the disappearance of American teenager Natalie Holloway in Aruba. Now, Tacopina came out swinging today, defending Deborah Bradley's apparently ever-changing story. Listen.
When you tell a story several times and you're rehashing events of that night, on a normal night, when we're putting our kids to bed, you're not exactly clocking the times. And there are going to be discrepancies, but there are absolutely no discrepancies or recollections that are refreshed, perhaps, by others. There are no recollections that have been refreshed or discrepancies that have caused the police officers to take any action.
Now, Tacopina is right, of course. The police have not apparently taken any action since hearing this interview between Deborah Bradley and Megyn Kelly. But one would imagine, Trace, that this newly revealed 4-hour discrepancy in when she says she last saw Lisa may at least have them rethinking important parts of this investigation. Trace?
You can bet it will. The Fox Report's chief correspondent, Jonathan Hunt, live in New York. Jonathan, thank you.